the niyyah, and I explained that without niyyah there can be no fasting, and I also explained how to make the niyyah. The intention is not that it should be uttered, the intention has got to be in the mind, and the intention has got to be very explicit, either in a positive way, as I said last time, that inshallah I shall be fasting for the month of Ramadan, qurbatan ila Allah, or it can also be in the term of negation, to say that I shall refrain from all those things which break the fast, and that is also enough. We can have niyyah for individual nights. You can also have one collective niyyah. Tonight, for example, being the first of Ramadan, a collective niyyah to say that inshallah I shall be fasting for the whole month of Ramadan, qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala. Now, we come to those items, there are 9, but we shall be discussing piecemeal, those acts which break the fast. The most commonly known is eating and drinking. These two things will make fast batil, that means will invalidate the fast. Now, as far as eating and drinking was concerned, it is not only that which is edible or that which is eaten, anything, whether it is commonly eaten or not eaten, if it goes down the throat while we are fasting, then the fast is batil, provided. Can that child be controlled, please, sir? Sallu ala nabi. Sallu ala nabi. So, provided that it is not done forgetfully, that means if someone forgets that he is fasting, which is quite possible on the first day, a man who has a habit or addiction to cigarettes and smoking suddenly takes a puff and then remembers that he is fasting, or a man who is somehow addicted to a cup of tea and tries to sip one and remembers. If you have forgetfully done it sincerely, then you can stop where you remember, not to say that now I have already started, let me finish it. It has got to be stopped wherever remembered, and inshallah the fast is sahih and not batil. But if one does it with purpose, then of course it is not sahih, the roza will be batil. I say it again and again because the timetable that we have fixed, I believe, has not yet been properly understood. The timetable that we have fixed has been fixed after a continuous calculation, observation, consultation. It took 3 years to complete it. Before we published it and gave it to you, where it is shown as Fajr in the timetable, the book that has been now incorporated in the directory of London Jamaat, the latest one. If you don't have a copy, we have a copy. In this, where Fajr is mentioned, that is Subh Sadiq. That is the time when all eating and drinking and all those things which break the fast must stop. That is the time. Not at sunrise. Not at sunrise. At Fajr, these things must stop. Subh Sadiq. And it is always better to stop earlier, that means by 10 to 15 minutes, so that one stops drinking cup of tea or having a last puff at his cigar or cigarette at about 4:15, 4:20, and that's over. This is what it is. And if anybody wants to follow any other timetable because he has made his own investigations, we can have no objection to it. But if you have made no investigation, then please rely upon the result of the investigations which have been made. This is my request. Not out of obstinacy and stubbornness, that because it has been done by Mullah, therefore we will not follow it. That is not the correct way of thinking. If you have your own investigations, then you may as well follow it. It is your own responsibility on the day of judgment. But if you have no investigation, then please follow the labor and the result of the labor put into this particular timetable, which to my reckoning is correct to the last minute. The same thing applies to Maghrib, where we will break the fast. After the sunset, few minutes are allowed, and then Maghrib enters in. This is necessary that Subh Sadiq is counted and not sunrise. By sunrise, the day is already begun. We have to stop eating at Fajr, Subh Sadiq. And we take 10 minutes earlier so that ihtiyat and precaution is also understood. The second thing which I wanted to draw attention to is a certain masail which cannot be spoken from mimbar openly, because the ladies are also listening, although there is no question of being ashamed of anything in matters of religion. La haya fi deen, but there is some scruple. We have published a small booklet called Fasting. Last year, we published it right at the eve of Ramadan. We could not advertise and tell the people, but this is another year now, and the book is available, in which we have explained at a glance. A young man or a woman can read the whole book. It's a booklet, doesn't take even 15 minutes to complete. All masail of roza and fasting are there, and it is only for 25p. It is not the money which counts, it is because most of the people would tend to read only when they pay. Now, but it is very important that it is read, and the book is available from here, Jamaat's table, or perhaps the Federation. Whoever wants, ladies and gents, may take this book and read. But the second thing which breaks the fast is intimate relationship, sexual relationship between husband and wife, man and woman during the fast. Immediately the fast breaks, and that has been explained. The third one, anyone apart from sexual intimacy ejaculates voluntarily, his fast is batil. If he has had a wet dream, slept and then ejaculated, that does not make fast batil. But if there is a voluntary ejaculation while awake, apart from sexual activity, even that makes fast batil. The fourth thing which makes fast batil is to attribute lies to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to the Prophet, and to the A'imma salamullah alayhim ajma'een. And Ayatullah al-Khu'i has included, as a matter of precaution, to attribute lies to Sayyida Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha also. These lies are such that man sits on mimbar or sits among friends and says, this is what Allah has said, or this is what the Prophet has said, knowing full well that this is a lie. It's a fabrication. It has been just fabricated. If a person knows after his investigations as an alim that whatever I say is true, and then if it is proved later that it was untrue, then his roza is not batil. But if a person fully knows and he attributes a lie by speech, by writing, or even by nodding. Suppose if I, na'uzubillah, may Allah help us, if I were to say something which is a lie, I say this is an ayah of Quran, while I know that it is not an ayah, and somebody equally knowledgeable sitting there says yes, by just nodding it. Hada qawmul jahilin. This is what he wants to say, because this is quite a quite a common Iranian anecdote which says that there was someone who was reading whatever he liked in namaz. An alim entered and he started drawing attention that these things are not in Quran. He said, Uskut, nisfun li wa nisfun lak. Whatever I am going to earn today, half of it is mine, half of it is yours. You see, and this is the community of ignorant people. So, if somebody nods and says yes, and Mu'minin sitting says, because Allama also has said yes, therefore this must be there. Both of us, if we are fasting on the day, the fast is batil. The one who attributes a lie, and also by ishara, by signaling, by nodding, whatever way, he accompanies the lie, it is batil. So much so that Ayatullah Hui says, if someone at night spoke the untruth, and during daytime only says this much, that whatever I said last night is true, his roza is batil. And if he spoke at night something the truth, and the daytime he attributes and says, whatever I told you last night is not true, even then is batil. Not only that, Ayatullah Hui says that if somebody knows that this is a lie in his own estimation, yet he speaks, and then it turns out to be the truth, even then his roza is batil. Because his intention was to impute the lies. Therefore one has got to be very careful, and the only thing is this, that either one reads and gives a reference that so and so has written, so and so has said that this is what the Prophet said, then it is something else. But otherwise one has got to be careful in the time of fasting when he speaks or quotes or affirms anything. These are the things to begin with which are connected with the fast. The later, other masail will come later. Last night I said something, for that there was no time to go further. We are living in an age which has been surrounded by materialism. When we talk of anything that is beyond materialism, we think we are entering into a strange world. But it is wrong to assume that there is nothing beyond the five senses. There is a lot. In fact, the world which is beyond our five senses is much wider, much more comprehensive, and much more pleasing, rewarding than the world we are in here. Materialism has actually put shackles and fetters into our wrists, and we are not prepared to understand or believe in anything beyond it, only when we are in a problem. I am only asking one question. Why? When there is a problem, when there is a problem in life and there is a problem attending everybody's life, at that particular moment, why we go, all of us, to a Maulana who will show us a spiritual way of getting over it? Why? Many examples. A lady is pregnant. She has had one miscarriage, second miscarriage. London is not now devoid of doctors. There are many doctors. But this third time that the wife is pregnant, the husband is in search of a Maulana now. Why? Please, Maulana, I want you to pray that this third pregnancy is not wasted. What happened to the doctor? Doctor is dead? The doctor is there. What happened to the medical world? Is it not working? It is working. Has it lost its efficiency? It has not. But there is an inner voice in me which tells me that with the doctor's assistance, I need somebody else's assistance who can save. Do you understand what I say? Somebody opens a shop in a primary place, puts in his capital, has already worked for it, planned, and then comes to an alim and says, Maulana, Mullah, please pray that I have done all that I should do. I have also carried out a feasibility and viability study. I want you to pray. What does what tells him that there is a need of prayer? That which tells him that please pray is an affirmation, or rather indirect confirmation, that there is a power which is beyond the power of this world, which, if it desires, will help me, kun fayakun. Is it not true? How many examples can we give from our day-to-day life? What are we in search of? If everything was material, then why are we going after? There is a spiritual side to all, and it is stronger than anything else. I remember when I went, I am giving example of my own experience, but there can be examples and examples from all the mu'mineen sitting here. When we went to Najaf, and may Allah inshallah very soon take us to Najaf under the safe surroundings, inshallah ta'ala, and may Allah see that this particular tragedy which is going on at the moment is put to an end immediately, inshallah ta'ala. When we went to Najaf, there was a qafla from East Africa which came with us together. We went to Agha Ayatullah Al-Hakim, rahmatullah alayh. And after that, there was a makhsusi, we came to Karbala. And in that particular makhsusi, Ayatullah came from Najaf to attend for the khususi in the haram of Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam. One of our people, suddenly developed a pain which was intolerable. And we took him to Baghdad. There was no one available to see what it was, to make a diagnosis. A doctor came there and looked at it and said, oh, it is appendicitis and requires appendectomy now. It must be operated. Otherwise, if it bursts, the fellow will die. This was the diagnosis. Now the man somehow did not want to be operated in Baghdad. He thinks in his mind that if I am operated here, I might die. They may not be as efficient as they should be, and so on. He refuses. And the pain goes on and on. As much as we told him, please go and have yourself operated, he refused. His family, totally distressed. At night, on that night, with all the pain, they took him to the haram of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. I am not talking of something which is a figment of imagination. I am talking of the thing which we saw ourselves, and not only that, but we saw the man suffering and we thought he was dying because he refuses to get the treatment. Because he's afraid that the treatment here might not be good. Well, what happened? At that particular moment, announcement was made that Ayatullah Hakim was coming for the ziyarat of Hazrat Abbas. People were asked to disperse because Ayatullah Hakim was coming. In his days, things in Karbala and Najaf were different. When Ayatullah used to come, people were asked to disperse, maybe for security reason, maybe for whatever. We were all asked to disperse. Ayatullah entered Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam's haram, and when he saw the Muzawwirs and the Khadim, all of them asking people to disperse, Ayatullah said, do not ask these foreigners to disperse, because they have come from very far. Do not ask them to disperse. Let them be here, because they have come from very far. They are the guests of Abul Fadl Abbas. As he drew near, one of the relatives just came to Agha and said, Agha, this is the person, this is the diagnosis. He only wants you to pray that he may be saved till he goes back to Tanzania. He was from Tanzania. He would like to get himself treated home. Agha smiled. Agha smiled and kept his hand on his hand and said, Inshallah, don't worry. You are in safe hands with Abul Fadl Abbas. You will go home and you will be safe. And we were there. And it didn't take a fraction of a second that the boy stood up as if he had never had any pain. And he completed all the ziyarats with us. He went back to Dar es Salaam and he was operated there after 3 months. And true, when it was all opened up, the doctor himself said, we just can't understand how you survived. What I want to say is this. that there is a spiritual side to everything, much stronger than the material side. Much stronger than the material side. And we must now try to create an awareness that there is a world which Allama Iqbal said, Sitaron ke aage jahan aur bhi hai. Beyond the stars, there is another world. This world is here. And the month of Ramadan, the fasting. What happens in fasting? That we don't take food for the whole day. And the whole thing is spoiled the moment we start gobbling after the dust. It is spoiled.
يا بنت محمد يا قرة عين